do a video right here. Yes, it was very strange. Yeah, my hair's growing faster. Yay, except not in the right spot, so no big deal. I threw this back on the other day. I felt a difference. I'm under the impression it may not make a difference whether there's a shift or not. It's just keeping the electronics away from me. How good it is, I don't know, but I've been reading up on that. I just thought I'd put it on and see what happens, and yeah, I felt a difference. Yes, okay. I don't. Do you put this in the category of a Mandela effect? To me, this would be something that's very interesting. I'll leave a link. The latest post. The very first post on this phenomenon was 3 months ago, and it has 311 views. There's a couple more. 58 views, 6 views, 7 views, 41, 80, 128, 10, 1, and 5 views 4 days ago. And to me, it looks like the exact same video. Okay, all 5, 8, 10 of these, whatever. It's about where the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean meet. Now, I never gave it much thought. But this video is very cool, where they're showing the two oceans and they're not mixing. It's like practically a straight line. Now, I've never heard of this, so I thought I'd check it out. And YouTube, the only video is earliest post was 3 months ago. I mean, would you categorize that as a Mandela effect that this thing popped up? Has anybody else heard of it? I'm sure there's people out there that heard of it. I guarantee you. There are people out there that heard of it. I've never heard of it. All right, this is key. I'm, keeping a high vibration, keeping my thoughts, straight, good, not worrying about stuff, not being upset about things, just being happy, just being in a good mood, vibration, and I'm consciously trying to keep that up. I come back in here and I sit down, I get on the computer and jump on YouTube. That was just out of habit. Figured I'd edit some of the videos I got getting ready to put up. I could feel it, man. My vibration was going down. I was excited to do it and happy to do the routine. I think that's what it was. And then I saw that there were some comments or whatever, so I go look, and I had a comment from True Love, asked me to elaborate on something, and I thought, yeah, this would be nice. I want to write, although I want to write. I think that would be better than typing. When I'm writing my book of my experiences, I'm typing. When I'm writing my ideas, I'm writing down in a book. But I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to start writing more in my book rather than videos. Because I get on here and the energy level went way down. I just found this other video now. Now all of a sudden, there's a few more videos, not many. One's a year old, one's 3 years old. It's the same video, but they were just put up earlier. There's another video that might be, I want to find it. I think I don't want to put it, okay, this one here, 2014, so 3 years ago. And it's talking about why and everything, but I was looking for something like this and I couldn't find it. Something to explain to me why and what's going on. It wasn't there. It's under the exact same category that I put it under. It wasn't there. Now there's a handful of more videos on where these two oceans meet. Not many more, and they're like 3 years deep, and I'm sure there'll be some more. I'll tag this one for you. I guess that's the same kind of idea that I feel people are. You notice the Mandela effect, you're affected, and you go back to your TV shows. And that's, I think, the stance I take on that, where, look, you're just distracting yourself, and you're wasting time, and I'm guilty of it, too. So, I'm absolutely guilty of it. I'm writing my phenomenon book, all of my experiences. I'm writing them in order and how everything went. So I go ahead and I get to the Berenstain Bears, and I decide I'm going to type it in the first time correctly, the way it's spelled in this timeline, and it comes up misspelled. So I go for the correct spelling, and it comes up Bernstein. Bernstein. It's not even Berenstein. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's still wrong. I haven't actually checked any real spellings. Berenstain Bears. Come on, just...
I pulled up some videos for you.
And what we got? It's still Berenstain. I'll focus on this thing. Alright, let's see. So what does that mean? This spell check is from another timeline? I'm sitting here editing this, my book, and I'm videotaping the spell check. And as I'm editing, and I'm looking, and I got Berenstain right above here as a misspelled word. Right below it, it says Berenstain, and it's not underlined as a misspelled word. As I'm sitting there complaining that it's coming up Berenstein, when 5 minutes earlier it was coming up Bernstein. Now the spell check is saying Berenstein, which I did not make it a real word. And then I went to Berenstain, made that a real word. And just as when I was editing, I'm like, that word below it is the same word. It's not coming up. I don't know. Freaking bizarro world. Now look at this. Here we go. Berenstein, misspelled word. How is it coming up spelled now? It's actually saying, oh, of course, why isn't it coming in clear? There it is. Berenstein. Now it wasn't coming up, it was coming in Bernstein before. Now it's coming up Berenstein. Alright? I don't get it, but I haven't touched this thing. I don't know. I guess I could have went on there and made that a real word. Add to dictionary. Do I want to do that? That one's a word. That makes no sense to me. That's a word now. And I don't know how to spell on this timeline. Pacific Ocean meets Atlantic Ocean thing for me is kind of bizarre now. All of the habits that we've acquired, all of the media we watch, TV, what that's doing is when you watch the movies, watch TV, distract yourself with all these things. What they are doing is dumbing you down, dumbing us down to the point where we don't have any emotion, where we don't use our feelings. But if we do use our feelings, it's with anger and attacking other people. That's what happens. You don't use your feelings for excitement and love. And I mean, we do generally, but what I'm saying is we should be feeling love 24/7 all the time. We should always feel good. And people are going to say, well, that's not realistic. It's not realistic because you watch TV. It's not realistic because you're distracting yourself with things that are dumbing you down to where you do not have any control over what you feel. control your feelings. Put out a good vibe all the time. You can do it. You know, I've been at this for a little bit now, and yeah, you can do it. No, not right away, maybe, but that's what it's coming down to for me. This is after being away from the electronics for a bit, um, and eliminating other things from my life. You know, not watching any videos at all, not being in any forums at all, not interacting with any people on the PC, um, because it's just something about it. And somebody used the word, and I'm not going to remember. Maybe I have. It's disconnect. I believe it was Peaches. It disconnects us from, disconnects us from humanity, and it distracts us from what we should be doing, what would make us happier and more fulfilled. Uh, that's just what I'm saying, and I don't feel like I'm even close to starting. But I've slowly eliminated things, and that's what I'm saying. My feelings are more in my control, and there's like a nasty feeling comes in, a bad feeling comes in, boom, immediately, turn it. I don't hear that as much anymore, which is great. And I'll find out what that is, and I'll get rid of it. The surface, it looks like, watching TV, any TV at all, Netflix, news, sports, even going to sports games. That doesn't hurt me saying that as much now. When before it was like, I can't be going to games. I don't even enjoy them as much anyway, but I still wanted to go. Um, it's, I'm going to say, rotting your feelings, or rotting what you can do with your feelings, because you can be happy all the time. You just have to reprogram yourself. And when you're happy all the time and your thoughts are always happy, if we're creating our reality and shifting into wherever our focus is, then we're always going to shift into a happier vibration, a happier physical reality. And that's just what I'm saying, what I'm feeling. I miss, making comments. I miss seeing some people. Jazz Sinclair's got a great channel where he just comes up with these incredible questions all the time. He thinks they're stupid, but I think he comes up with some genius stuff. If I felt like listening to a show, if I felt like distracting myself, I'd go listen to Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, or Globebusters, or Sean Indica's channel, and listen to a couple of his videos on his ideas. Plenty of Mandela Effect channels to go check out. But I need to move on. It's the distractions are becoming more obvious to me. But these are for me. They may not be for other people. I mean, look, you start seeing these Mandela effects, and you realize they're real. You need to talk to somebody. You need to talk to somebody that sees them. You need to, chat with them. Maybe you do got to play a game with them or tell jokes. That's people react differently to a bunch of different things. I may be too serious about this, because I remember early on, even on the Mandela Effect site, people started to make jokes. People started to be sarcastic about things. And I got on there and I said something. I said, wait a second. Physical reality is changing around you, and this is a time to, the jokes just weren't for me. I didn't understand them, but it was clearly, quickly pointed out to me that, you're still here. You're still living life, But I think there is a line between, being distracted unintentionally and distracting yourself.
This whole Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean meeting and not mixing. It's not just the phenomenon that they don't mix. For me, first off, let me start off with, I have no idea where it came up on the computer, why I started to look at it. I don't think it had anything to do with YouTube. I was just looking at it, kind of gazing at it, and it just was, I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. And let me look that up. So I went right to YouTube, and I typed in Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean meet. And I got 10 feeds. The oldest one was 4 months old, and it was all the same video. Straight down the line, it was the same video. And then I went back a couple hours later, looked at it again, and there were a couple more feeds. One of them was a couple years old, and it was trying to explain it. And I was like, oh, well, this is what I was looking for the first time. But that wasn't there. And then this morning I looked at, and then I also looked up, what did I do? I Googled it, and Cape Hope came up. And then, what was it? This morning, I'm showing somebody. This morning I'm showing somebody who's pretty intelligent on these things, you know, and he'll tell me, yeah, New Zealand was always south of Australia. Well, he's looking at me like I'm crazy when I'm showing him this video. And we're both sitting there looking, well, it's got to be faked. We never heard of it. It's got to be some kind of fake thing that somebody just put up online. Well, we're looking at it, and now all of a sudden there's a feed that's 3 years old, a feed that's 5 years old. One of them is a documentary kind of thing on it, and I don't know if I'll post it or not. It has the fisheye lens. It's cracking me up because the whole thing is totally curved. The whole phenomenon, everybody I've spoken to about it's never heard about it. To me, this is a pretty amazing thing when you have the Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean meeting and not mixing at all. Let alone, for me, there was 10 feeds on it, all the same video. Now there's a couple more videos I was checking out. For me, it didn't exist, you know, and now this thing just kind of popped up. But I'm absolutely sure there are going to be people out there saying that they knew about it, they've been there, they've seen it. Now here's the other thing when I was looking it up. It's not just Cape Hope, it's also in the Gulf of Alaska, which the Gulf of Alaska for me was a Mandela effect back when I was on MandelaEffect.com. I brought that up to people. I've never heard of the Gulf of Alaska. I've never heard of the Gulf of California either. We have that now. But the Gulf of Alaska apparently has the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean meeting. But nothing on Cape Hope popped up. So, you know, and I guess I should do more research on this. I probably will. I'm kind of interested in this. Cape Hope and the Gulf of Alaska have the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean meeting, and they're not mixing. And I also saw other videos of the Atlantic Ocean and Indian Ocean meeting and not mixing. I've just never heard of that before. Bizarro world. Mandela effect exists outside of YouTube. It does. I say the Mandela effect. It's so much more than just the products changing and noticing colors change, and it's so much more than that. There's so much more going on, and I'm sorry, while I was sitting at the computer, I just wasn't seeing it. And some of it's so minor, it doesn't matter. But there's still changes, and they're obvious. To me, they're more obvious. But YouTube, for me, was to pass on information and learn. I'm totally promoting Jinx Cat's forum, the Cat Cave, I believe she calls it. It's a place where people can go, talk about the Mandela effects, safe haven, if they need to talk. Understand what my points are on distractions. I know what I mean. Am I articulating it properly? Well, definitely not from the get-go, but it seems to me we need to be careful and not be distracted by so much. Maybe it's all moderation. I've noticed, if there's anything I noticed, if there was a shift, it was that I've changed. I'm kind of rougher, harder. I don't take nothing off of people. I mean, I've always spoke my mind and always spoke my truth, but sometimes I would not speak if I just felt like it would cause a confrontation, and recently I'm not worrying about it. Telling it how I feel, and that's it. Right, wrong, I don't know. It's how I feel. I'm getting that ringing. I'm getting that ringing in the ear here. Can you guys hear that? Try. Still hear the ringing. So I've been being pushing myself, taking myself away from the electronics, TV. I'm shedding things of a lower vibration, I guess you might say. And I had my reasons for getting into discovering what's going on with the Mandela effect, and I misunderstood some things. The Afterglow site, I joined it figuring it was about like-minded people being affected by the Mandela effect. For me, I don't need to be on the site. I'm at a point where, everything's a distraction, and I'm realizing that might be true, but, what am I going to do? I mean, but that's also the other thing I'm learning. By shedding the things I've been shedding and taking away all these things, I'm realizing, I feel like, there is something I'm supposed to be doing, and I guess I'll figure out what it is. Because I'm still going on. I mean, there's still things I want to let go of. As far as, the Discord, look, those sites are great. That's the thing. I was talking about, a shift? The 23rd, people were talking about it. Sandra wrote about it. Gateway on the 23rd. It was also Nelson Mandela's anniversary of his first death, which I thought was funny. I didn't physically really feel anything, but I saw a lot. I saw a lot of people. There was a lot of anger. A lot of people were tough, but that's the thing I noticed about me. I'm rougher now, tough. Not tougher. I'm not going to take anything off of anybody. And I've always spoken my mind, but there's been a lot of times on YouTube, especially, where I might not make a comment or place my opinion because it just seemed like it was going to cause a fight. And now all of a sudden I find myself speaking my mind and going out of my way, not out of my way, but I'll say something. Like, hey, I don't agree with this, where normally I just kept my mouth shut. Because everybody's entitled to do whatever they want. And I find myself speaking up now, which isn't a bad thing. I disagreed with some of the things, some of the side rooms to go in, and I'm wrong about that because that's what the site was set up for. It wasn't set up to just talk about Mandela effects. That was my mistake. So, but if I, need to get on a forum or something, for me, it's going to have to be something that's just geared towards Mandela effects or quantum shifts, really, which is what it is, in my opinion. And that's just where I'm at. But those sites are great for people. And I didn't, I wasn't fighting with anybody. I wasn't trying to start no fights or anything. And I felt like I was attacked, but at the same time, they may have felt attacked because I was all disagreeing about that adult site on Afterglow. I mean, I didn't have to say anything. I could have just stayed out of the room. So I apologize to anybody I upset on that site. Hey, look at that. Is that a chemtrail? You gotta be kidding me. I'm in the middle of the mountains. What the hell are you doing that for here?
So I just decided to do this video real quick because I already have most of the Two Oceans meeting, everything that happened with me, I explained. Now, I've never heard of it before, and all the research I've done, it looks to me like the Gulf of Alaska is just the Pacific Ocean and iron, and the other side of it is iron and other minerals that are making it look two different colors. Was it a hoax or a scam or some kind of baloney? I still can't tell. I'm reading all kinds of stuff, and I just can't get it. I think that may be a hoax, the Gulf of Alaska. I can't say either way. The information's too sketchy. And then Cape Horn, I'm getting that the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean meet down there, and that it's warm water and cold water, but I'm not getting anything that you can see a difference where they're not mixing. This whole not mixing thing seems to be a farce. I don't know. With me, I don't know where the information came from. I looked it up. The first time I looked it up, it went right to YouTube, but the information I got first was from some question answer thing. Very vague, didn't even finish the sentence. Then I went to YouTube. There were 6 to 10 videos of these oceans meeting and not mixing. There were barely any hits on them. I believe I read them off. Then it might have been the next morning. I don't know if it was that same day. It changed. There were more. There was a documentary on it, which I still haven't looked at the whole thing. It just looks tacky. I figure if there's a documentary on it, it must be real, right? But it was just strange because then all of a sudden there was 5-year-old videos on this, and I've never heard of it before. Supposedly in 2012, I think it ended up being a hoax at the Gulf of Alaska. I'm not positive about that because that's just somebody else's writing, somebody else's thing, like a Gazette or something. What I read so much on it, I'm tired of reading about it. I don't care. Is it a phenomenon? I don't know. I never heard of it before. I didn't know if it was a hoax, but sorry for wasting your time on that if it's not real. I can't seem to find anything that's telling me it's an actual thing.
This is where I should be. This is what I should be doing all the time. As far as what else is going on and what else I'll be doing, I don't know. Am I getting bored? The boredom goes away. And like I said before, I believe these things I'm shedding, I mean, I don't know what's going to come back. As far as I'm concerned, they're all temporary. Just trying to see if something makes a difference. Because I want to experience more, because I want more answers. I mean, I want any answers. I wonder if I'm scaring this fish.
2:48, July 27th, I got a high-pitched ringing in my left ear, and I decided to accept it and let it come in, and it changed. It was almost like there was another one inside it. That's not the best way I could describe it. As far as my research has been going, what I've come up with is, and I'm still going on, is those who impress upon us what to believe, watch, see, and understand, and know, whether it's the truth or not. Their goal was to make our thinking wrong so we wouldn't think properly. I mean, think about it. It's easier to get angry than it is to laugh and be happy. If somebody steps on your foot, even if it doesn't hurt. I mean, but I think the main thing that they've taken is our feelings. And the only time we're really going to express our feelings is when we're angry, and it's either that or they're just dulled down. And I think that's significant. I think that's key here. Still working. I definitely agree with continuing to enjoy your life, no doubt. I just think maybe, okay, I mean, do I take it too far? Physical reality is different. It changed. It shifted. Maybe it's not that serious. I mean, maybe it's really not that serious. I've said all along, I think it's natural. I think if there's an artificial way to do it, it would be CERN or the D-Wave computer or, maybe some other thing. But, I do think it's natural. So why would I be making a big deal out of it? Why can't I just let people have their fun? Even if it's distracting them, because if something comes to this and we all figure it out, like, hey, this is what's going on, we're shifting, we're still going to go off distracting ourselves. So this was a big lesson for me, this whole, but I'm not going to be on any group sites. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just be posting my own blogs. I'm not going to be listening to anything or anybody either. Just for, I don't know if it's going to be months or what, but I'm doing tests and stuff, and I'm feeling differences, and I'm picking up information. I'm reading information that, sounds, hey, this could work, but I don't want to say anything, because I'm going to test this stuff. I'm not just going to come out and come up with theories. Physical things I want to do, like exercise more, and because I feel like that would clear up my mind, so I'll be able to shift. Consciously, directly, purposefully. Just ideas. This is things that I'm trying. But the whole reason I jumped on here real quick was, do I take the Mandela effect too seriously? I like to say, hey, physical reality is changing around you. I don't really think that's what's happening. I think our consciousness is shifting through timelines. And there may be artificial ways that they're doing it in bigger jumps, which is causing us to notice. We should thank them if that's the case. But am I too serious about it? Because I don't really enjoy ball games anymore. I'm going there. If I go there, it's, just to interact with the other people, see what's going on, see how other people act. Are they really there? How close are they? How close is their dominant consciousness to my dominant consciousness? I mean, it's just thoughts that go through my head. So I'll still be distracting myself just like everybody else is.
Okay. $9, right? Unless, of course, they had to change it at all in the timeline I was in, and then I that bottle's dated 2014.
Yep. What?
Yeah, I know. Hard to believe.
Huh?
It's nothing.